Hey folks, it's Dr. G. We are going to watch a video right now about the parts of an academic article. Now, why are we doing this? We're doing this because if you don't know what the parts of an academic article are, it is easy to get lost and easy to get confused, all right? And frankly, some of the parts of the article you don't necessarily need to read. Now, you might be asking yourself, why on earth are you watching this with us? Because when I show this video in class, I often pause it to add clarification, and so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to recommend that you watch this with a pen in hand because I think that the things that I'm going to be sharing with you and this video is going to be sharing with you are going to save you a lot of time and you're going to want to remember them. Okay, folks? So we're just going to go ahead and get started.
Welcome to this ELC self-learning video. This video looks at a time-efficient way to read academic articles. Many students find that the most stressful part of university learning is having to read a huge number of academic articles in a very limited time. Reading academic articles is not an easy task, and sometimes you may find it quite time-consuming and energy-draining. But reading them is actually beneficial. You will not only gain background information, but also build up some useful vocabulary about the topic you're studying. Academics generally give the latest updated research findings and ideas in scholarly publications. They do their professional discussion in journals, which are mostly aimed at other experts in the field. That's partly why academic articles are sometimes hard to read and understand. Though it is not easy, you can get through the process by following these tips. Let's look at the basic format of academic article first. Most of the time, you will find these sections: title, abstract, keywords, introduction, literature review, methodology, findings, discussion, implication, conclusion, and references.
So you see this little list right here. Not all parts, as she's saying, are in all articles, but when they're in there, they follow this order, okay? And so it's really important for you to keep that in mind because it's going to help you not get lost and know what things you can skip.
Not every report will contain all of these, and sometimes the names may change, but those are the major headings. Once you understand what each section does, you will be able to locate it easily when you read academic articles. The title and abstract are usually the first two things that appear in an academic article. You should always read the title and abstract. They're incredibly useful. They will give you an overview of the topic that the article discusses. They will help you decide whether the article is really related to what you're looking for. Then, you need to find the keywords if they are given, and the introduction. Keywords are useful for searching journal articles with similar research topics. This will speed up your journal searching process. Look at the introduction, which can often be found in the first two paragraphs. Here you can see the definition of the article title and what makes this research interesting. Therefore, the first four parts on the list are must-reads. The literature review usually comes after the introduction. Some academics call it literature or previous work. Some writers may even name the part with the theory they are going to mention in this part. The literature review tells you the history of related research on the same topic. It might be interesting to you, but it is not necessary to read it to understand the article. Methodology is another part that you might skip at this stage. Some writers may call it method, research process, or procedure. This part refers to how the research was carried out. Advanced researchers often follow the steps the authors use to conduct their research and make comparisons between different research methods. However, this is not necessarily useful to you if you're looking for background information. Findings or results show you what the researcher got from the research process. You can skip this part too if you find it too complex, especially if it only covers statistical data. Discussion.
Now, Remember how she said that you could skip the findings, especially if it's statistical data? I do want to say yes, it is true that you can skip it if it's stats, but in the humanities, the findings are actually the largest part of the study, especially if we're talking about, I don't know, the types of articles that we're reading, the findings are going to be the part that you want because it's really going to break down their results, and you're going to want to read that. So that is one area in which what this video says is conditionally true, but in our case, we are going to want to read the findings. Okay? All right, here we go.
Question, implication, and conclusion may appear in articles separately or in one single part. I would highly recommend that you read through these parts. Discussion explains the results, often with everyday language, so you can easily read it and grasp the main idea. Implications or significance explains the relevance of the results for society. The conclusion highlights the key findings and major argument again.
All right, so there's another reason to watch or to read the conclusion, and I actually want to talk about this. One of the things that I want to recommend to you is read the conclusion first. The reason why I'm saying that is because one of the things that new readers of academic articles struggle the most with is learning where to find the author's central argument, the thesis of the piece. Sometimes authors are not as clear as they think they are in the introduction and explaining why their research matters and what their argument is, but in the conclusion, they repeat their central argument and explain why it's important. So if you read that first, you're going to be like, oh, the whole article now makes sense, okay? So just, I know it's an odd suggestion, but read the conclusion first and then go back to the intro and start reading, all right? Cool.
Some may also mention the limitation of the research and suggestions for future research in this part. Let's sum up what we have just gone through. In the must-read column, title, abstract, keywords, introduction, discussion, implications, and conclusion. In the column Read It When You Are Interested, literature review. Methodology and findings are being put into the column of No Need to Read.
Again, you do have to read the findings, okay? This is a little bit different, right? If it's just stats, you can skip over that, but in the humanities, the findings section is actually the part that you do want to read, all right?
One more tip. You don't really need to understand every word in the journal.
True.
You can choose to skip it when it's too hard to understand. With the techniques that we mentioned today, I'm sure you will find reading academic articles a more enjoyable and worthwhile experience.
So it might not be enjoyable, but it's going to be a lot easier. And I do want to emphasize again that, you're not going to understand everything that an academic article says, and I don't want you to feel like you can't hack it if you don't understand everything in an academic article, and I don't want you to keep on reading the same sentences over and over again. In the words of Dory, just keep swimming, right? Because we're going to talk about the meanings of these things in class, okay? Thank you for watching this with me. This is the end of the video. She's just waving at the end of this, and so yeah, let's just stop it here.